After defeating the Void Abomination, Napoleon returned home on his loyal white dragon. He was unsure if he was going in the correct direction until we saw the green tint in the air from the toxic fallout, and there was no mistaking the sound of gunfire nearby. No, we were on our way home. We could only hope that our clone army was having the same success that we were. Unfortunately, though, it would appear that in our absence, Void was absolutely decimating our defenses, destroying turret after turret. We had never anticipated that our defenses would have to take on such large numbers of Void soldiers all at once. We always assumed that we would be attacking them in the last moments of this war, not the other way around. It would appear that we were sadly mistaken though in this. As we approached the front of the base, we saw large numbers of Void soldiers fighting with our clones. Our dragon flew in from the side, and as did we. Napoleon and his ancient white dragon had once again joined the fight. By this point though, all hell was breaking loose. Some Void soldiers were even using our barrage turrets as cover from our clone soldiers. Obviously, this didn't do them any good, as we would destroy the turrets as well. Our men were under extremely heavy fire and attempted to make a strategic retreat back towards Napoleon, while having to leave several of their brothers lying on the ground. In the end though, with the help of our returned commander, we ended up defeating the Void onslaught. Make no mistake though, this battle was anything but easy. Many of our men were severely injured, and unfortunately many of them as well had perished during the battle. But their sacrifices mean that we will ultimately win this war, and we will cleanse this planet of Void. We had a massive cleanup to do though around the base. There were bodies littered literally everywhere. There were so many dead Void soldiers. It was honestly hard to fathom. Truly so gruesome. Your eyes see it, but your head can't make any sense of it all. Such a massive loss of life was truly devastating. But better it be the horrible, disgusting Void members than one of our clones, or God forbid one of our chewed up bubblegum baby soldiers, who it would appear came very close to a demise of their own during the battle. Thankfully though, unlike Void, we protect our own here. Many of our soldiers, damn good soldiers, gave their lives to protect those children, as well as the values and our mission that we hold so dear. And in the end, we ended up having to dig 7 new graves for 7 of our fallen brethren. But now with our horrific members buried, we could finally begin the cleanup effort. We were going to go around this massive base of ours and begin repairs that were needed. Just as well, of course, we're going to begin cleaning up the mess that was made, as well as tending to our wounded. And of course, this was no easy task, as there was a lot to do. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. There were so many bodies to clean up and whatnot, but eventually we would do it. It would take several days, but that didn't matter to us, of course, because we had plenty of time on our hands, and we also had revenge on our minds, firmly set on the mission of destroying Void. Sometime later, the green in the air had finally cleared up, and the shit was out of our lungs. We could breathe once more. So we went around, began repairing our defenses and whatnot. There was no way for us to rebuild every single turret today, as we didn't have enough time for that. At least not if we had planned on achieving our one true mission today of attacking the last Void base and absolutely eradicating it. However, as you might have noticed, we're a bit low on manpower now after losing several of our clone soldiers, so it was time for me to sit and wait for these babies to grow into children. Children that can hold rifles and that can fight. But they're not going to be much use to us if we don't actually start training them and preparing them for the battle to come. Now look, I know what you're thinking, and I agree. I wasn't very sure that these little chewed up bubblegum children were going to be much use to us either, but we would have to try. And there was no one better for the job than our Spartan Taylor, who up until this point has honestly been pretty underutilized. So we built a training facility and created the children a bunch of weapons, and Taylor got to work showing them how to fight, just really helping them work on their combat skills in general, like shooting and obviously things like that. However, most important of all, Taylor helped them learn how to work as a team. Now, of course, we've always thought of our clone soldiers as brothers, but these clones here they feel so much closer and more of siblings to me, more of a close-knit family. Of course, though, I did watch them all grow up in oversized test tubes, so after training together for a long period of time, they were finally finished, all grown up. Our vat-grown clone soldiers were ready, led by Kid Omega. the Omega Clone Squad. To make things more interesting, I also allowed them to customize their armor to give themselves a more individual look. But now with the growing and training of our Omega Clone Squad finished, we can finally begin working on a new ship once again. Of course, we continue losing ships over and over, but hopefully we don't lose this one this time. Truthfully though, it's really not a big deal. We can always make another, and besides, I would trade one ship to destroy the last singular remaining Void Fortress on the entire planet. Yes, you heard me correctly, the last remaining Void Fortress. I must say that this episode is make or break. This will be the last episode of our Clone Army series. Well, at least for Season 1. If you guys really like it, be sure to let me know in the comment section. Maybe we'll do a Season 2. Because of course there are many more planets throughout this universe that must be cleansed of the disease that is Void. Now by this point we had actually made Wartwort and Napoleon their very own singular starfighter ships, while our troops, the new Omega Clone Squad included, paced around the cantina just eager to rip and tear and absolutely annihilate Void. And so we would give them that exact opportunity. We all launched in our brand new ships and began heading off towards the last remaining fortress. This was make or break, do or die. Thanks to the loading glitch that occasionally happens, we could see just how many Void soldiers were at this fortress, as well as their mutants. We began landing and immediately began firing upon their turrets and other defenses. Unfortunately though, our ships were not able to land very close together, so our other troops would have to begin moving towards the other squads and link up together. We would of course attempt to bring all of the squads to the front of the base so that we could infiltrate there and take out any remaining defenses. Which of course was a lot easier than it sounds, because each squad was getting absolutely hammered by bullets as they were fighting their way towards the front of this Void Fortress. But as you already know, it would take a lot more than bullets to put out the fire in our bellies. After destroying their defenses, we all gathered in front of the base. Napoleon, Taylor, Wartwort, Crimson, Kid Omega, and the remaining troopers. This is what we came here for. This is what we've been fighting so hard to achieve. This is why the Cosmic Space Rat brought Napoleon and the other troops back to life. This was our mission, and we would be damned if anyone would get in our way. We've come so close. Nothing is going to stop us now. This is it, my friends. This is the end of Void on this planet. We couldn't have done it without each other. We couldn't have done it without the friends we've made along the way, but most importantly, we couldn't have done it without you. But now it's time we finish this fight once and for all. Many of the Void members would attempt to hide in their bunks, but there was nowhere that they could hide from our plasma grenades, and then our wrath. We easily mowed down the Void associates hiding within like hot butter on a summer day with a spoon or something. We also killed some Black Titans. You know, we killed everything. With the Void Abomination no more, they had nothing left up their sleeve that could stop us. We quickly infiltrated their base and went room to room, destroying turrets, destroying Void associates, destroying mutants, anything that we could get our hands on. Every single last square inch of this fortress would be cleansed by our holy blaster fire, completely sterilized by the supercharged plasma coming from Wartwort's rifles. It was an absolute bloodbath. After killing off all the associates, we then began working to kill all the mutants that they had created. This being the last remaining Void Fortress, they had an absolutely ungodly amount of mutants created. That mattered very little to us though. We've gotten this far, we weren't about to let these disgusting abominations stop us. It didn't matter how many of them we had to butcher, we were going to win. After killing off the majority of the abominations, we found one hiding on the east wing of the base. We had something very special in store for breaching these walls. Look, you and I both know that I couldn't come to the last remaining Void Fortress and not detonate at least one nuclear bomb. We gave Taylor the great honor of being the one who actually gets to detonate it. Unfortunately though, this would end up in her getting slightly caught in the tail end of the nuclear blast. Yeah, she was standing just a teeny tiny bit too close, but she was fine. Well, as fine as you could be after getting hit by a nuclear bomb blast, which was pretty damn fine in her case. We then began to infiltrate the eastern wing of this massive fortress and killed the last remaining mutant. And with the death of that last remaining Void creation, so went their legacy on this planet, as well as their massive chokehold. The Void has fallen, and the clones are here. We are the new galactic superpower rising. Our home planet is just the start. Let every single void base in the entire galaxy and the entire universe look as this one does, a heaping hunk of rubble. Let Void be nothing more than a forgotten nightmare. After finishing off the last remaining Void Fortress, we began the long journey back home. We had finally arrived. Everyone on each ship was celebrating. We had finally done it. We had finally defeated the twisted, horrid, dark empire. We were successful. But of course, with Void gone, that does mean that this planet is going to need some new overlords. And who better to fill the void, pardon my pun, than our clone regime. But with this last remaining episode coming to a close, I just want to thank you guys so much. This would have never been possible without you, and I love you all very, very much. But of course, my friends, fear not, for this is not goodbye. It is simply until I see you again.